Hello, and thank you for tuning in to this interview where we'll be learning a bit more about one of HIROC's newest board members, Tyler Bragg. Thank you so much for taking a moment to speak with me today. We're thrilled to have you.
Yeah, my pleasure, Mark. I'm thrilled to be here as well.
Yeah, very cool. So, to kick things off, why don't you tell everyone a bit about where you work and what your role is?
All right. Well, interestingly enough, a couple of years ago, my financial services firm merged with a fairly large CPA firm out of Alberta, and recently I've fulfilled some of my commitments, and I retired, well, semi-retired, I'd like to call it, but I'm focusing a little bit more of my time on some of my board commitments, and it's just trying to figure out what the next move is, and for the second part of my career.
Yeah, awesome. Very cool. And when we say and talk about the term safety, the word safety, what does safety mean to you?
Well, I guess to me, prioritizing the well-being and the protection of the patients and the healthcare workers as well. And ensure that there are measures in place to prevent harm and have a safe working environment. And you also need to foster a culture of continuous improvement to go along with that. So, and that's actually one of the things that I find very interesting about HIROC as well, as what they're helping our subscribers with in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great segue into my next question because, at HIROC, our reciprocal model is all about, building that culture, sharing knowledge, and then scaling those lessons across Canada's healthcare system, which is our community. Why do you value HIROC's community?
Well, actually, I think the answer to that question is in the question itself.
Mhm.
You know, I believe it's sharing the knowledge and scaling the lessons across the system. But in my previous life, I used to be a CFO for the Cypress Health region a number of years ago, and at the time, I was put on a provincial committee that was looking at what was the best solution for insurance for the province as a whole, and that was when I was first introduced to the model of a reciprocal and HIROC in particular. And ever since then, I've been a proponent of going that route, and I've been championing the idea of a reciprocal for the province ever since. And of course, that's where we're at. Now that we have one provincial SHA and HIROC is our insurance provider, it ultimately worked out. But it's been something that I've been very excited about for it's probably about 20 years now. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually had a similar kind of response to HIROC's reciprocal model too when I found out about it and what it does and how fascinating and different it is from other models of insurance. And I guess now that you're one of HIROC's newest board members, what do you find most exciting about joining HIROC's board?
Well, I mean, I'm excited, obviously, to learn more about the reciprocal model. I don't proclaim to be an expert on that, but I'm really excited to learn more about it. And, just to be part of an organization that, focuses on the safety and shares the knowledge to all our subscribers. I ultimately believe that, what anybody does within, whether it's, HIROC or healthcare systems in general, everything that we do should be focused on how this affects the patient. And from what I've seen thus far, that is how things are looked at through HIROC, and I actually really appreciate that, and I look forward to bringing something to the table from my perspective as well. So I'm quite excited about getting more involved.
Yeah, we look forward to it as well. And I guess now for a few reflective questions to help our viewers get a bit more insight into you, Tyler. Can you recall maybe any memorable experiences in healthcare or patient safety that helped shape your current views?
Oh yeah, there's lots. I guess the main one that comes to mind, and I guess it was kind of a watershed moment for me, I suppose, was I was working in a small community, and we had 6 dialysis seats in this community, but we had 12 dialysis patients, and unfortunately, 6 of them had to travel 6 hours, three days a week, just to get the dialysis treatment that they required. And this was quite hard on the patient, but also their families. And you know, coming from the business world also, it seemed like a real simple solution to me. And unfortunately, you know, as you understand, there's bureaucracy and politics and things that, you know, maybe there shouldn't be. So it wasn't as easy as I thought it would be to get, you know, let's move the funding from that community to this community, and we'll serve them locally at another shift, and they can all stay home and not have to drive through blizzards and whatnot. You know, through this process, I got to know a lot of those patients and understand, you know, what we do and the decisions we make or not make and how that affects them personally and their families. And then in the end, when we got it done, you know, it took a little bit longer than it should have, but we got it done and we were able to serve them locally. I was fortunate enough to see that how much improvement that made to their lives and to their families as well. And that's really shaped how I looked at things, you know, for the rest of my career, because it, you know, it really is about, you know, what are we doing to make things better for our patients?
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like it was a very eye-opening moment for you.
It certainly was, and I still think about it every day. I run into these same people in the community still, so it's, you know, it's kind of nice to see how well they're doing.
Yeah, and follow up. Very cool.
Yeah.
So Tyler, do you have, you know, maybe a mantra or a similar code, a set of beliefs that really reinforce, you know, what you do every day?
Well, you know what, I didn't think I did, but you know, I guess the one mantra that I guess that I was taking a sales and marketing class many years ago, and I had an instructor, and she was trying to instill confidence and resilience, you know, rather than acting like a victim, you know, on all the you know, the pupils of the class. And you know, I don't know if it was out of frustration or what, but one day she said, try and use the term "try me" instead of "why me."
Yeah.
And you know, that was almost 30 years ago, and I still remember that, and I have applied that quite often. And it's, you know, it's made me learn to like challenges and to embrace them for what they are and find the opportunities. And it's such a simple, you know, almost juvenile, you know, mantra, but it stuck with me, so it must be pretty good.
Yeah,
I
for
should, I
sure.
should probably I should probably look her up and let her know that that at least
Uh,
stuck with me over these years.
yeah, the impact that made, and it made it. Yeah, it's just a reframing of challenges, right?
Yeah,
Very
I think she
cool.
was challenging us, and
Yeah,
you know, and I think it was brilliant, really.
yeah, so simple as well.
Yeah.
I guess with everything you know now, Tyler, if you had the opportunity to go back and speak with your younger self, what advice would you give to them?
Well, that's easy. I think it'd be the same advice that young people get all the time, and that's that time flies. You know, take advantage of it. And
Mhm.
I mean, clearly in your personal lives and stuff, that's, you know, that's obvious. But you know, I go to a lot of you know, healthcare training meetings and whatnot, and you know, a lot of times I see some of the same problems on the table that we were dealing with 20 years ago, and I remember my younger self thinking, yeah, okay, that's a problem, but we should be able to solve that in about, you know, 5 years. You know, and here we are 20 years later, still talking about, you know, one electronic health record and some of these other things that have been on the table for a long time. And so what I would like to instill in my younger self and some of the other younger folks,
Mhm.
that while we do have time, it does fly. So don't waste the opportunities, and you know, be vocal and advocate for some of these investments that we have to make for future generations.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. For future generations, that's very wise advice, Tyler. I guess what was I need to ask, you know, what was the best mistake that you ever made, and what did you know learn from that?
Boy. Well, I don't like mistakes. I don't think
Yeah,
anybody does. I've certainly made a number of them, but I think the key is to learn from them, of course,
yeah, of
but
course.
also to take them for what they are. You know what? I'm going to take a more personal approach to this one, because I think I'd be remiss if I didn't. You know, probably one of the biggest mistakes at the time that I thought, well, it's not a big mistake, a little mistake, but it turned out to be a big result. Was I actually went to a corner store when I was in my 20s, forgot my wallet at home, and so I had some change in my pocket. So rather than just leave empty-handed, I bought a newspaper. And remember, this is 20-some years ago. People still read newspapers.
Yeah,
and I went home and I found a sales and marketing class that I was interested in, and joined that class. And that's where I ultimately met my future wife. So turned out, and she's still here, and so it worked out pretty well for me. So I would say that that's probably my best mistake. And feel free to share this with my wife if you get the chance.
Yeah, this will be public, so yeah, she'll if you want to take a look, yeah, she'll definitely.
Maybe I'll just secretly send her the link so she can.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess Tyler, at the end of a long day, or when you have some time off, taking vacation, what's your way of unplugging and just disconnecting from technology?
It's not really that exciting, but what I like to do is just to go out into my garage and tinker on things that need to be fixed. And quite often it's one of my kids' cars need to be repaired, or something's broken that needs to be fixed, and I just find it very soothing to forget all the other problems I have, and I just have to fix this material thing in front of me that just simply needs a little bit of help, and that just takes me out of the troubles of the day, and I mean, I do like golfing as well, but it's just 3-hour commitment is sometimes hard to get to.
For sure. And I was gonna say, yeah, it's almost like working on something different, different tasks, almost like a meditation, so to speak. I do the same thing with cooking,
Yeah, you're right. Just something else that you wouldn't normally do during the day, and it just helps me unplug and regenerate.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's all I have for now, Tyler. Thank you so much again for joining me. This was a superb interview. We really appreciate your time and all your insights. Welcome again to HIROC's board, and congratulations.
Well, thank you very much, Bragg. I'm really looking forward to getting more involved and meeting you in person and everybody else. And yeah, thanks for doing this. I'm looking forward to getting to know the rest of the group around there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.